Welcome to Wednesday morning Q&A live with me, Julie. I hope everybody's doing fantastic and well, especially those ones that are in Victoria. I don't know how you're going. If you're in Victoria, reach out and let me know how you're feeling. I know for myself, I've been pretty good, pretty cash about the whole lockdown 4-stage thing, blah, blah, blah. But I've just noticed the last sort of week or so, last couple of days, I've just been feeling like, I'm just done with this shit. I'm just done with it. I was okay. So I've been working through the process of the emotions that I'm feeling, any advice that I give or anything that's coming through with from the spirit world to actually help you go deeper into yourself and actually work through your shit. When it's up comes up for me, I go and do it. I have tantrums, I have breath work, I have body work, I have journaling, I have going into myself to work out what the hell is going on. So I'm no different to you guys. I feel stuff as well. And it's really important to actually make sure you go through the process to actually do the action of actually letting it move through your system. But one of the things I really wanted to express, because I've literally just jumped off a coaching call with a client over in America. Well, she's in America-ish somewhere. It's over that way. I get them a bit confused where they're all at. But one of the things that she discovered too, because I personally haven't done. Hey Danielle, I have personally haven't done a coaching session only via text message, like only through Messenger. Normally, I voice it. Normally, we jump on a Skype call like this. I'm not a Skype, a Zoom call like this, and we actually have an interaction like this. So I'm doing face to face. And usually the guided meditations and stuff like that that we're doing, or the deep processes we go through, you can hear me, you can see me. It's that interaction. Whereas this time it was all text message because she hasn't got the ability over where she's at the moment to have that extra internet to do live, that kind of stuff. And I knew to make it stay in that space too, that it's just through text messaging. So she was going through this massively deep process, like I'm talking generational stuff that's been passed down to her. So she's gone into a deep, sorry, a deep state of relaxation and a deep state of exploration and a deep state of exploring what was going on for her with what's actually happening for her in her life at the moment. She's experiencing a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress at the moment, and we're working out the root cause of where that had come from. And she worked out it's actually a genealogical thing where it's been passed down to her. So something that she's actually brought into this lifetime that's been passed down to her. And she went and actually explored, and she found one of her ancestors going through a certain experience, and we guided her through this process through her opening her eyes, looking at the message, going in and actually doing it, opening her eyes, looking at the message, going in and doing it, responding to me, how that person is going, how she's going, and all these little moving parts. Anyway, finally come back, did the process of actually seeing her where she's actually going, because it's really important to make sure to be focusing on where you're actually heading and actually then working out what the resistance is that's popping up for you stopping to get to where you want to be. So we worked through that process, and I asked her how that process was because she's feeling extremely different, which is fantastic. And I love giving people cuddles, like especially at the end of like a big fucking process, and when you're walking out, like having really big cuddles. And I can't give her a cuddle; all I can do is just give her an energetic cuddle. But to hear how that process was for her was like mind-blowingly huge, because she's always had the thought process that if you're doing a meditation, if you're doing any deep work, you have to actually, be sitting down, you have to be in a really deep space, you have to allow yourself to drop in, you've got to have no distractions, it's got to be a certain way, it's got to look a certain way. Whereas she has just discovered that she can go extremely deep, heal really deep levels with basically still opening her eyes and actually reading a message and still communicating with me, which is a huge process because it's taught me something too of like, I can do this shit to help you guys out even through text message, which is like deeply honoring for me too, because it makes me excited too, because I love learning new stuff as well. And it's also helped her to learn something that she can actually do deep processes and support herself just through text message as well. So I really want to invite you into the the possibilities of how you can learn something new, the possibilities of learning something new, the possibilities of actually seeing things in a totally different way that can actually support you. And she's had this big, like, light bulb moment of like how she does stuff is a result of this. And she had no idea that she was acting out, doing this action as a result of something that's happened back there. And she's got other choices. So having other choices actually helps her, allow to her to feel different, to respond differently, responding, not reacting, to respond differently, and to feel different, actually go and do different actions so she can actually move to where she wants to be. And I'm so deeply honored that she actually allowed me to move that through that process. And I am so, so, so honored to actually show her a different way of doing things as well. So my peoples, looking at different ways you can be positive, looking at different ways you can learn, looking at different ways that are going to help you take the action that you're wanting. What is it you're desiring, and where do you want to go, and what's stopping you from actually getting there, and looking at things a different way. I really invite you into that. Hope everybody's fantastic. Let's see who else we've got on. Hey, Ponima, we are fantastic. I love fantastic. Hi, Danielle. Yep, I will get to your questions in a moment. Hi, Gabrielle. Hey, Ash. And Cynthia, we've got on today. Well, that have sent me messages. Let's have a look at. I've got Beryl sending me messages as well from the shop. Let's have a look at emails and see what we have. I always answer emails first. So we've got one from Purnima. Good morning, Julie. Thank you so much for your Facebook post. It's really helping me to keep going in every situation. Fantastic. Is everyone loving the little scrolls? Beryl and I just crack up doing the scrolls, like absolutely crack up when we're recording the scroll things. It's just a crack up. And I hope everybody's loving the little videos what we're doing with the crystals and stuff too. Oh, that reminds me, I've got to post today's crystals that are for percentages off. Yes. Okay, so Purnima, my brother is married for 7 years, but is not happily married life. They have a son. Okay, please let us know if it's possible that his wife changed her mind. Please let us know if it is possible that his wife changed her mind. She don't want to be with him. My brother love his son so much, but doesn't want to lose him. Love, Purnima. Purnima, I know you're on live at the moment. If you could just pop into the comments. Hey, Katie. If you could just pop in the comments exactly what you're asking. I know we've had this conversation before, that you're asking questions in a roundabout way, where I've been inviting you to look at the way you're asking the question and ask the question more directly of what you're actually wanting to know. Because that can also be coming from a space of feeling nervous or scared or worried about what the outcome will be, or what the reactions will be of the people that you're communicating with. So just be aware of that. But I'm actually wondering what it is you're actually wanting to ask. So please let us know if it's possible his wife changed his mind. Are you asking? What are you asking? What are you actually asking for your brother? If you could actually send me a message, because as I said, Purnima, I know you're live at the moment, because I'm a little bit unsure about exactly what you're needing to, or what you're wanting to know. So I will come back to you. Hey, Felicity. I'll come back to you when you've actually popped it into the bits. So Lauren, I will come back to Purnima when she types in exactly what she's wanting to, what exactly the question she's wanting to ask. So Lauren, good morning. I was recently trying to purchase 2 questions online. However, when I click to make payment, it comes up with an error on your website, saying seller restricted. I was wondering how I can make a purchase. Also let you know that in case of... Thank you, Lauren. I'm not sure about that, because on the website there is a possibility you can get 3 questions answered for the price of 2. So I will check into that, Lauren, and see what's going on with that. So let that with me, and I'll let you know when it's been technically looked at. um, just replying to that. Okay, so Danielle, hi Julie. Hi babe. I have a very important question. Okay, my mum passed 3.5 years ago, and we have to get our family dog put down on Monday. Oh, babe. Oh, my heart goes out to you. Like, oh my God, I've got a little chipper. He's a little miniature fox terrier, and he's got cancer. And we're living on borrowed time. And I'm so grateful for all the time that I've had with him, because I mean he's over 11. But it just breaks my heart when you've got to say goodbye to a family pet. Um, so yeah, my heart's going out to you, Danielle. It really is, really is going out to you. I told her to go find mum. Okay. Um, got put down. Do our pets reunite with their owners? They've just fully covered me in goosebumps. So that would actually say to me yes, that she's actually they're showing me like a waving. They're showing me like a waving from a distance, and I can see like a human with a dog there. And they've covered me in goosebumps. So they're actually letting me know that yes, but definitely they've reconnected. Some animals don't always reconnect. It depends on the animal as well. Like if the animal was happy, if it was enjoying the space that it grew up in with that owner, then totally, they do usually tend to reconnect. It's a little bit like humans on the other side. Sometimes they can pass on the other side, and it's like they've got to go do their bit that they need to do, and then it's like they find their way back to the human, and that can take however long it takes. So sometimes, like for an example, like I remember doing a healing. I'm talking a good probably 7, 8 years ago. And I was doing this healing, and I was doing a Reiki session for this lady, and all of a sudden I got the like instinct to open my eyes, and I opened my eyes, and this big friggin' white horse walked into the room, and I'm like doing this Reiki session, like I'm like, holy shit, I don't have room in this room for a big horse. But there was this really big horse in the room, and the person was on the bed. And after we did the Reiki, I'm like, did you own a horse at all? And I explained the horse to her, and she was just in tears because she actually lost this horse when she was a little girl. And it was a beautiful reuniting for this horse to come in at this particular moment, and she was actually reunited with a horse. I made sure that she took the horse with her, because there was just no way that I wanted a horse hanging around, a spirit horse hanging around. But it was definitely that beautiful reuniting of her lost animal, especially the horse to her. So Danielle, I just wanted to let you know that yes, your mum and the puppy doggo have been reunited, because as I said, they fully covered me in goosebumps. But I'm sending you so much love to you to have so much loss. It can hurt. Danielle, I have coped okay during lockdown until now. Yeah, hopefully we can return to normal sometime too. I agree. It's like I've been totally fine. Like this year's just been totally cool. I've actually enjoyed this year. I know a lot of people are not, and a lot of people's lives have really been turned upside down. I'm not saying that ours is like too cruisy. There's been, stresses and stuff like that, especially the fact that I've become full mum taxi, and, driving to school and work, and when they normally used to catch public transport. There's no way they're catching public transport at the moment. So be thrown back into mum mode and still coach, psychic medium, business owner, boss, wife. There's a lot of hats that I'm doing at the moment, which I'm good at doing. Um, but yeah, Jenny, I totally understand. It's like I'm this last couple of days. It's like I'm done. I'm had enough. um, so yeah, I'm sending you big hugs, big hugs and love, Danielle. Um, Gabrielle, hello. My daughter has been waking up around 3 a.m. and talking to somebody. Is somebody trying to contact us? It's really interesting, that question, Gabrielle, because you're saying your daughter's waking up at 3 and talking to somebody, but yet you're wanting to know is somebody trying to contact us. So I feel like there's two parts to that question, because I feel like there's somebody the someone that's actually waking her up at 3 a.m. is somebody that she has called in. It's like she's been asking for a friend, or she's been asking for somebody to play with, or somebody different to connect with. And quite often the other side will actually communicate through us when we are sleeping, because it's like we're not distracted in any other way. And quite often there's especially new ones to the other side, they don't get the point that the humans need to actually sleep and rest. So they'll come in and annoy you and start talking to you and that kind of stuff, because you're in a restful space. I know that if my husband is doing some late work, sometimes he can get very like Clydesdale. What I call Clydesdale is where you're just so focused on what you're doing that you forget everything else. And sometimes it can be like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and the other side will wake me up, which does not impress me because I don't like being woken up. And they know that. But will come and wake me up in order to go and wake him up, or go and actually talk to him, and say it's now it's time to come to bed so we can actually get up for work in the morning. And he'll be totally like, oh my God, I didn't even realize that was the time. So the other side can help you in that respect. As I said, they don't do it very often because they know that I don't like being woken up. But Gabrielle, it feels like your daughter has actually called somebody, and it feels like she's wanting a friend, or wanting somebody to play with, or some she's called them in. So the person that she's called in is actually for her. But that feels like a very new person to understanding humans. Yeah, so it feels like a new spirit that's been hanging out there on the other side but hasn't learnt how to understand humans yet. So sometimes the spirit world, when they get crossed over to the other side, they've got to go do their bit. As I said, they've got to go and learn their bit and whatever like that. And then it's like they get graduation, and they can get to go and play with humans. It's probably the best way to call it, pulling it, and they get to help humans. But it feels like the one that's with your daughter is new to understanding that humans need to have a sleep. So you can actually have a talk to that spirit before you put your daughter to bed. You can ask your daughter to actually put a really big bubble around her bed and actually let that person know. Because it doesn't feel bad. It doesn't feel like it's a bad thing, or a wrong thing, or a one that's annoying or shouldn't be doing that. It just feels like they're just learning. And it's going to be very big learning for them as well. So get your daughter to pop a big bubble around. You can pop a big bubble around her bed as well, and just let them know between the hours of blah and the hours of blah not to actually wake up or talk or disturb the human. If they're going to be doing that, then they're actually not allowed to be hanging around, and they will be asked to leave. That's very, very important for them to understand, that if they're not going to do what the human has asked as well, like the human boundaries, that they don't get to be around, hanging around, causing issues. Is somebody trying to contact us is a different part of that question, Gabrielle. My question would be, to who is it that you would actually like to communicate with? You can pop that into the chat box if that resonates with you, but it feels like there's a question there that who would you like to communicate with? Ash, am I in the right industry for work, or should I move on? Am I in the right industry for work, or should I move on? Ash, it feels like to me that you've got some, it feels like you're in a learning space, like you're in a really deep learning space at the moment for yourself, personally for yourself, and it feels like you're a little sponge trying to absorb all this new stuff. So it feels like you're on the right path with what you're needing to be doing, but it feels like the moving on part means that you need to keep learning, you need to keep absorbing, you need to keep bringing new stuff. So it would say to me that you're definitely on the right path. I'm saying path, not industry, path, because you're needing to keep learning, and moving on helps you to keep learning. I hope that helps. But you feel like a little sponge, which you need to be doing at the moment, so keep going. Cynthia, I just want to check if Purnima has commented. Just making sure Purnima, because I want to make sure that I'm answering her question. She hasn't commented yet. Okay, so Gabrielle, as for us, thank you, darling. I do feel that someone has been around, but I'm not sure if it's my friend's dad or my nana. I'm pretty sure I know them. but I feel like someone else has been trying to get in contact. To me, it feels more like Nena. Um, okay, so it feels more like the Nena side of things. It feels like you're in need of some nurturing or some support. At the moment, it feels like you're um, yeah, you're needing some nurturing or support, and it feels like Nena's been hanging around, actually giving you that space as well. It feels like there's been a lot of, I don't know, a lot of movement or a lot of feels like there's a lot of movement or something in the house, Gabrielle. Like there's been big shifts or big changes within the family stuff, or lots of family emotional stuff. Doesn't feel like it's really heavy. It just feels like there's some stuff going on. And it feels like Nana's around there to actually offer that help and support, like that nurturing. Nurturing seems to be a really big thing, like really big thing. It feels like there's quite a few people in your household that are after nurturing for some reason. But she's around that. She's hanging around for that. Because it gave me goosebumps all up my spine when I was like, oh, Dad's Fred, Dad's Anna. Um, I'm just looking into your questions. I haven't actually looked into your home fully yet. Feeling like somebody has been trying to get into contact. Um, mm, the trying to get into contact side of things, it feels like to me that the other side are trying to get you to listen more deeply to yourself. It feels like there's self-doubt there, or there's it's like you question yourself when you're got information, and you question how you're receiving it, or you're questioning how it's coming through, and then you're braining it too much. It feels to me like they're trying to get in contact with you in the way of to drop down into your heart and your throat a lot more than staying in your head. If you can give me a little bit of confirmation with that, that'd be fantastic, and I might be able to help you a little bit more. But definitely Nana's hanging around to, as I said, give you nurturing and support. But it feels like there's someone trying to contact you, is like trying to get you to listen more deeply and drop into your head and to your heart more, Gabrielle. Now, Purnima has just sent me a message. Should he opt for divorce with her? Right. Will he be able to get his son custody? Okay. When it comes, I'm talking to Purnima now about her brother. Um, about her brother. When it comes to divorce and children, there is just no easy way. There is just no smooth, there is just no easy way. Yeah. It's just a process you've got to go through, and you've got to trust in the process as well. I've said it before where as much as divorce and separations and children's and everything like that is just so challenging to go through, I do have this deep feeling, and I've witnessed it. I've lived it. Like I've lived it. My children, I've gone through divorce. I'm on my second marriage. I took on 3 children that I'm not biologically mine, but we had full-time custody of all 5 children. So I see them as all as mine. And we've had exes and everything like that. So I fully get that space. And I've always had the understanding too, because they've told me a long time ago that divorce and separations and stuff, as much as it's painful, we don't live in a community at the moment, or we don't live in communities where people help people, and communities help raise children, and children are needing so much more than just the family unit. At times they need to learn so much more from other units, and having divorce and separation and stuff actually helps that child get information from other family units. Like they gain usually a second partner, and that second partner actually offers and shows them something different. The second partner has extended family as well, and that extended family take on the children and actually teach them and learn them something different as well. I'm not saying this is bloody easy. Like I'm not saying in any way this is freaking easy to do. Like to have your children hanging around another woman and all that kind of stuff, and how the families and la la la. It's really challenging. Yet I also can see it, that the greater picture there, that soul of the child has signed a contract to actually learn more than what the family unit can actually give them. So looking at that, I see things very, very differently when it comes to divorce, and because I see a greater picture with it. Should he opt for divorce with her? They're saying yes, because it's not going to change. It's not going to get any better. They're also popping into my head too that once somebody chooses not to like you, you cannot do anything to change their minds. Once somebody has chosen to not like who you are or to not give you that choice to see it differently, you cannot change their minds, and sometimes you do need to move on. Will he be able to get his son custody? Um, uh, I'm not sure about that one. It feels like it's going to be very equal custody somehow. It doesn't feel like he's going to have more or less. I wouldn't be surprised if down the track a little bit more he has more time with them than she has, because it feels like there's going to be something around there that she won't be able to cope with the children, so he'll be able to have them a little bit more. I'm not sure what that is, but it feels like there's going to be equal and then he'll get a little bit more. I hope that helps, Pornima, because I'm sending so much love. I'm sending spiritual help to your brother as well, because divorce is just shit. Like, it's just shit. There's no sugarcoating it. It's just shit. Cynthia, sorry if this is a strange question. No such thing as a strange question. No such thing as a strange question. Um, should should I stick with my plans and move into a house with my partner at the end of the year, or should I start looking at moving now? Hmm. It's definitely not a strange question at all, because it's what you're experiencing at the moment. Um, to me, it feels like to me, I would start looking at moving now, because it feels like to me that the resistance of whatever's coming up for you to move in with your partner in general, it feels like if you stick in that resistance, you're going to become that resistance, and then you're going to resist it and then find excuses to not do it. And it feels like to me like this is a beautiful like union, like this is a beautiful togetherness, like you and your relationship that you've got with your partner. It feels like it's a beautiful togetherness, and it feels to me that um, if you if you resist if you allow yourself to go into the resistance, you're going to start living in the resistance, and you're not going to do it, and it needs to happen. So my guidance from the other side is that I'd actually be starting to look at doing that now. I hope that helps, Cynthia. Carly, I'm being stuffed around at work in a massive way. Should I take a risk? Yeah. Um, I think that's a fantastic question, Carly. Like, absolutely fantastic question. My question to you would be is, what do you feel is keeping you there to not take a risk? Because clearly you're not enjoying being stuffed around. Yeah. And quite often the universe will make situations happen to be really uncomfortable, so you make the choice to move on. Yet making the choice to move on usually tends to make you shit your pants. Yeah. And you then go into braining it too much. Whereas really, if you sat down and looked at it, dropped into your heart, Carly, and really asked the question of what it is that you're desiring, what it is that you're wanting, you wouldn't allow yourself to stay in that space and be stuffed around. You'd actually take the risk. Because it's not until you actually choose to step off that ledge that the universe can actually step in and open that door and actually make it happen for you. But quite often, the universe will make it really, really uncomfortable for you to take that risk. And quite often, if you don't get the point of that really uncomfortable space, they will actually create a space where it's actually going to be a problem for you, and something serious can happen for you, which can actually take a more emotional toll on you than actually taking the risk a little bit sooner when you knew that this doesn't feel right. Carly, do it. Oh my God, do it. I think you're going to be so much bloody happier when you take the risk and actually move on. Because no one deserves to be stuffed around. It's not fair. Cynthia, they are so good. Katie, good morning. Flick, morning as well, darling. Erin, will I have any more kids? Erin, will I have any more kids? Yes, I believe you will, and it feels more like a girl. It feels like they're showing me a lot of pink energy. Um, they also show me the vagina, which really indicates it's going to be a girl. Um, But yeah, I feel like it's a yes with more with the female. Hope that helps. Um, Danielle, she was a little fox terrier Jack Russell mix. Yeah, yeah, I've got little miniature fox terriers. I love them. She had cancer. Yeah. That snuck up on us. We were put we put her down the day we found out. Okay, so you found out the day, yeah. Oh, babe, you bawl. You bawl, you bawl. I'm giving you full permission to bawl and cry. I lost my little miniature fox terrier last year. She had a ruptured uterus. Oh, it's making me emotional. She had a ruptured uterus, and she ended up having to have emergency surgery, but she didn't actually make it through the recovery space. And my heart, oh my god, my heart broke. And that sent her partner, which is Chip, into he went into a massive depression because they were so close together. They were a breeding pair. He went into a mass depression, and actually, when I look at him now, I can actually see the cancer in him. And I can see his kidneys having a problem, and I can see the cancer. Like when I look at animals and stuff, I can see what's going on for the animal as well. But yeah, my heart breaks for you, Danielle. I'm full permission to bawl because it does. They become part of your life, and it just breaks you. And I'm just so grateful for all the time that I'm getting with my little chipper because he does crack me up. Beck, hello. Can you tell me if I'm on the right path in life? That's a really big question. Beck, let me just have a little bit of a look into that. Beck, it feels to me too like when I'm looking at you, it feels like you balk a little bit or you question too much the path you should be on. Like as in, let me explain. It's like when I'm looking into your system, are you on the right path in life? That's a huge freaking question. Like, life's a long time, really. It might go very quickly, but it's still a long time, and so much gets put into that life that you're looking at. Um, so, are you on the right path in life? I feel like you're on the right path now. I feel like that path's going to change down the track because you're going to grow in a way that you're going to need to completely change what you are doing, and that's okay because what do they do in high schools now? Like they don't have career days or whatever they call them. They have pathway days because they've finally worked out that we don't quite often look at one career and stay with that career forever. We actually go different pathways and we flow to where we're supposed to be and learn. But Beck, the thing that I'm really tuning into that is the fact that it just feels like you take too long and you go too much into your head and overthink it before you actually make a choice that you know is right. It's like you feel in your body, you know what's right, you know which way to go, but you go into your head and you actually talk about it too much and talk yourself out of it. But then you finally talk yourself into it and then go on to it. It's going to be so much easier for you if you feel into your body and actually go, that's where I need to go and actually do that. But it feels like there's a childhood thing playing out with that, Beck, with actually not trusting your decisions. Because I can feel into you. You actually feel when it feels right and when it doesn't feel right. I hope that helps, Beck. But yes, it feels like you're on the right path at the moment, but it's going to change down the track. Gabrielle. Not at all. I can tell it's friendly, yeah. She's only 2, so I'll ask her for that. Yeah, oh my God, Gabrielle, just going back to the little girl that's waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, totally 2. So because she is 2, you have authority to be placing the bubble around her, and you have the authority to actually pop there and say, right, as the parent, her sleeping hours are from this to this. Don't wake her up. Like you are not welcome to wake her up. If you wake her up, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. But her hours from this and to this, and she's to sleep in that pace and not to be learned. And I invite you as that spirit to be the protector over her to make sure nobody else bothers her between those sleeping hours, because she'll be a lot happier and it'll make everybody else a lot happier. But Gabrielle, I really invite you to make sure that your house is saged and gridded because that'll actually also help as well. Um, Flick, yeah, Pornima, I answered through the email. Thank you. My daughter Aurora has been really difficult lately, which isn't normal. And I'm struggling to deal with her and communicate with her. Yeah, I can feel that. As I feel like I'm the bad cop most of the time, totally understand, and feel like it's me, she doesn't want me. Oh, hey, Flicker, totally get you. It hits your heart. It feels like there's two different parts into this. One of the parts is there seems to be something that's actually attached to her shoulder. It feels like there's something that's attached to her shoulder. Is she wearing like a donut? Is she wearing a hagstone around her? Does she have that protection around her? Because it feels like there's something that's actually hooked into her shoulder, that's creating her to do that as well. Get your house greeted, make sure it's cleansed. You've got your house greeted, I'm pretty sure. Make sure it's cleansed again. And I'd actually be placing a bubble around her as mum, placing a bubble around her, letting anything know that they don't get to fuck with her, and placing that protection around her. But the other side to this flick is that parenting is being the bad cop. Yeah, parenting is doing the shit you don't want to do with them. Parenting is having that time. Like, I remember there was times, because my kids know not to fight, they know to learn to communicate. Okay, and I taught them at a very young age that fighting, because I had 5 under 5. Come on, like, I had to work out a way to actually do this, otherwise there'd be mayhem and they'd all be fighting. So and there was 5 of them, so there was always something to have an issue with. So when they were little, and I know you've only got one child, so this makes it a little bit more tricky, but it's still a process you can do with her to help her, yeah, communicate. So whenever they were fighting, I would actually get them to either sit down, because they were little kids, I'd get them to sit down cross-legged, and they would have to either hold hands or touch knees, because quite often, depending on what the argument was, they couldn't quite they couldn't quite hold hands yet, but they had to be touching knees. So they had to be sitting down, touching knees. And what I would do is I'd actually be the negotiator, and that each have to take it in turns to say what they like about their person that they're fighting with. So, and it's, oh look, no, this was bad cop, yeah, this is bad cop. This is actually teaching them in the most loving way that I knew how to actually communicate in a different way, and to not stay in that charge, because when you're pissed off and you're angry, you're charging, and quite often you move away from each other and you stay charged. But when you're connected, like you're touching and you're doing it differently, it's creating different pathways in your brain to be able to communicate, and the emotion doesn't control you and come on top of you. You're actually able to control the emotions, yeah? Because really, you're not the emotion, you're just experiencing it, okay? So Flick, what I used to get them to do is sit down, and they'd actually take it in turns of saying what they like about each other. Now, it was so hard to keep a straight face, because quite often they're sitting there, they're seething, like they're pissed, right? And they're like, I like it when you, I don't know. And they get really shitty, and you just have to be so controlled and go, what is it you like about your brother? Or what is it you like about your sister? And they'd go, I like it when you bring me my shoes. And they come out with the most funniest stuff, and you still have to keep the most straightest face. And it will get to the point where they're moving backwards and forwards, that they start laughing, and it becomes lighter for them. So the bad cop side of things, being a parent, your job is to not be their friend. Your job is to teach them how to be amazing bloody humans and to survive in the real world. That's your job. And sometimes you have to be the bad cop. So the other side to this question, Flick, is the fact of, like, there's a part of you, okay, there's a part that's in you that's needing something. And when she's like this, you're not getting what you need. So I'd invite you to explore into that. Gabrielle, thank you. Thank you. I suppose for a lot of movement within the house could be because my fiance has slowed down with work, and he hasn't, and he's been home heaps more lately. Right, yeah, that makes so much sense. And we're moving this weekend. Oh my God, babe, that's huge movement in your home. It's lovely to know that Nana is here helping. Thank you. Yeah, Nana's there, as I said, nurturing, supporting. Anytime you're moving and you're moving with children, it's a big thing. Like, it's a big thing. I used to always trust my gut instinct with everything, but I guess lately I've been overthinking everything, more to do with our future, are we taking the right steps, etc. totally understand where you're coming from. Get the house saged even if you are moving, because what happens is because you are moving, you're packing stuff, you're moving stuff around, so that all that energy gets awakened and moved. So giving the house a sage will actually help everything move a little bit smoother for you, because it calms down the energy and it gets rid of the old energies that were in that space. But yeah, babe, you know how to trust your gut. I would suggest, like, in your 5 seconds that you don't have, to stop and to actually do some breath work and actually be making sure you're connecting in with your body. It will help everything to go a lot smoother. But I'm sending you so much love, Gabriel, because I know what it's like moving. We've had to move house with 5 kids. That's 10 kids, 5 kids. Oh my God, 10 kids would make me cry. 5 kids. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Cynthia, thank you. That helps so much. Yeah, babe, go for it, because if you allow yourself to go into that resistance, it's gonna be a problem for you. I'm just making sure that I'm not missing any messages. Michael, hi. Any messages? Thanks. Michael, it feels like you've stopped trusting yourself. It feels like you've gone, it feels like your physical body's here and you're spiritually and energetically and soully everywhere else but your physical body. And when you're in your physical body, you trust yourself, because it feels like you need to come back to your physical body and start trusting yourself more, Michael. Flick, do you know it's attached to a shoulder? Um, mm, It feels like you've gone to a park or something. You've gone outside in the world, and you've gone to a park, or you've walked through a park or past a park or something like that. And it feels like there's a little creature. It doesn't feel like it's a human thing. It feels like it's a creature thing, that's actually attached to her shoulder. It's like she could see it, and it felt nice to her. But when it got too close to her and it's attached to her, it's like she can't get it off. I would do an exercise, Flick, where you're asking her to stand still, and put some music on and like get her to shake. And while she's shaking, like you dust her off, you brush her off, and like you brush her off, because it feels like it needs to be a shaking movement. So maybe put some like drumming music on, drumming music on, or something like that she can actually just like shake and like shake her body and get that out. And then you're like brushing her off at the same time, and basically tell it to I want to tell it just to fuck off. But it feels to me like it needs a little bit of like, this is not the space for it. I would also suggest, I don't know if you've done the purple, like, or I've done the box when you're saging your home, Flick. But I would suggest while you're doing this exercise that you get the box. So just for those people that don't understand the box, many years ago, I could see things coming from different realms, different creatures and things coming from different realms, and quite often they come here as a excitement thing to be in like the human world. But what happens is they come here and then they get stuck here and then they can't get home, so they create chaos and confliction and all this other stuff, so they can actually let you know that they want to go home. So I do it a different way. I close portholes and rifts and energy spaces and that stuff differently. But the way I do it is not something that I can just tell the general public how to do it, because you can cause issues as well. So I ask the other side how to help you guys help those creatures that are in your space to move on. And they showed me you get a box that has like a lid, like I've got a card deck, but you're not getting a card deck, you're just getting a general box, something that you can actually pop the lid on. You're lining this box, and I see this side of the box and this side of the box with aluminium foil. You're popping the box down, usually the front door when you're saging around your home, but Flick popping the box near her feet somewhere, not something where she's going to tread on it, like so she can shake and move around the way she needs to. But with the way she needs to, but having that box there, and then after that experience where she's drummed and shaked and everything like that, and you've told her to go, pop the lid on the box. Yeah, I would actually suggest saging the house, and then getting rid of the box. That'll actually help massively, Flick. Thank you, Gabrielle. Thank you so much. And the info about how you got children through fighting has helped me too. You're welcome. Gabrielle, they do not like it. I'm letting you know that they do not like it. And what I've seen over the years, because now mine are 16 to 20, what I see is that they actually communicate. So they've got emotions and they're getting shitty, but what they'll do is they'll actually, instead of actually allowing their emotions to control them, what they do is it's like they drop into themselves because they know that if they fight, they're going to have to go into a space where they've got to tell that person how much they love each other. So it's actually easier for them to go and communicate and say, look, when you did this, I feel this, or when you're doing that, I'm feeling this, or can you please not do that because that makes me feel. So what happens is it's actually put them into learning how to communicate instead of allowing the emotions to take over them. The only thing that we did have a little bit of a hiccup with all of this is when they got to primary school and high school as well, is they were coming home and they were frustrated at the fact that they were not allowing their emotions to control them. They were responding to the emotion, and then they would go and try to communicate to another child, and that child had no idea how to communicate, and then they were a bit frustrated at the fact that they were ready to communicate but the other child didn't know how to. So then we had to work through that. But it's just learning, but it's so much nicer in your home than kids fighting. But it does take that bad cop parenting to actually create children that can cope in the real world. I hope that helps. Any suggestions on donuts she needs? I would look at like Crazy Lace Agate flick, Crazy Lace Agate, or you've got your Dalmatian Jaspers. Dalmatian. You've got leopard skin, I think it's called Jasper. The other one they're popping into my head, but anything Crazy Lace Agate will actually help her massively flick. Um, Okay, so I'm just aware that I'm going to be wrapping up in a minute. Oh, Gabriel, I have twins, so fighting has just started. Ooh, good luck, babe. But be the bad cop. As I said, you being the bad cop will actually teach them how to be amazing humans in the real world, and also help you. But there was times when they were doing that exercise, and they were just so shitty, and I had to control the uncontrollable laughter that wanted to come out of me. There was times where I actually had to turn and actually put my back to them and actually get myself right because I just wanted to piss myself laughing because the snotting and the pissed offness that they had was just so bloody funny at times. And then you'd have to turn around and be very straight faced and go, right, so no, your turn. And sometimes that can take 10, 15, 20 minutes, yeah, for them to start doing this. And you as the parent have to give that time to dedicate yourself to that. And if you don't, it's just going to be a problem. So yeah, as a parent, you've got to dedicate the time to the stuff that you don't want to do. Like even to the point where having the 5 kids, we had them in separate rooms, and we had a family room, and then they had their bedrooms off, and they all went through a stage there that they wouldn't bloody sleep. And it was probably about a good 3-4 months that we were teaching them all how to go to bed. Because with my lot, you turn this way and they've got somebody to play with. You turn that way and they've got somebody to play with. You turn that way and they've got somebody to play with. So stuff was always going very busy. So it took them to teach them how to calm down, so self-control to sleep. So it was about 3 months. My husband and I took it in turns that we knew that once they were in bed, we would go down there with a chair and we would sit right in the middle of the room and we would say, get back into bed, get back into bed, get back into bed, get back into bed. And they would go back into bed, and we had to do it for like 3 months. Every single night, we're like, fuck, I've got to do this. It's your turn. And you just go and sit on the chair, and every time, and they took 3 months, but they self-soothed and self-regulated. So when it was time to go to bed, they'd just go to bed and they'd actually sleep. Because we were having one would not sleep and then go and annoy the rest of them. And then we had, like even now, even as a teenager, he's at 17 years of age, he wants to sleep for like 30 hours. So even as a little kid, he was growing even more. So to be woken up, he wasn't very user friendly, which, creates issues everywhere else. Flick, thank you so much. I will get this done today. Every time we talk, you tell me to sage, I do, but you're still telling me to, ha ha ha. Am I doing it right? Yes, you're doing it right. There's just a lot of emotional stuff that comes up in your home, Flick, that needs to be saged regularly. You've got a lot of movement that happens. It just needs to be saged regularly. Your daughter is just really connected to the other side, like different sides as well, not just the other side, but different realms and sides. And she knows how to create and bring and open and bring into the home. So you saging more regularly actually would help her and you. Hope that helps. Jess, I would love any messages from the past. Passed over loved ones. So, Jess, there is a very strong male figure that's coming through. Um, to me, they're showing they're represent like they're coming across as very. I think this is actually more past than you think, because to me they're showing me very elegantly dressed man, like in suit, very elegantly dressed man. Um, it feels like this is, gee, you've really opened up a space here, because it feels like this is past over generational past for you that are coming through. Um, you come from a very strong supported line, that he's saying, like a very strong supported line, like very distinguished and very respected line of people. And they're saying that you've got to find that again. So you've got to find your strength and your strength of your family and your ancestral line that's coming through, because that's what's going to support you with what you're going through. I hope that helps, Jess. I'm not sure who exactly it is, but there's a very strong man coming through, and he's, as I said, it's very strong in the way of you come from a very big line of strength and a very big line of support, and you've got to call upon the ancestral line in order to help you with what you're going through at the moment. I hope that helps. I just want to make sure that I haven't missed. Um, cool. So on that note, my darlings, thank you so much. I love it when you all tune in. I love being able to help you. I love working with the spiritual world. I love what I do. Like, I've just been really reflecting the last probably week or so that I really love what I do. I really love my gifts. I really love being able to help. I really love the people that reach out to me and express how much I've helped them out, because that's what like fuels me to actually see people having a difference in their lives. I love coaching people. I love even giving people a healing. I love reading for people. I love doing what I'm doing, but without you guys, I can't love it as much, because part of what I do is interacting with you. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart so much about reaching out and asking me questions and actually allowing me to be a part of your lives and actually look into your lives and actually help you out. Stay safe, everybody. Look after each other. Look after yourselves. I'm sending big hugs and loves to everybody, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.